Islamophobia has become an overt feature of right-wing nationalism in the United Kingdom. In recent years, Islamophobia too has come to play a central part in nationalist rhetoric. The debate that surrounded Brexit revealed that these twin hatreds have also become prominent props in mainstream political discourse. That does not bode well for the relationship between the United Kingdom's government and its Muslim population. Far-right and fascist organizations in the UK step up Islamophobic and anti-European Union activities in the wake of terror attacks in Paris and Brussels, as well as attempting to take advantage of a possible British withdrawal from Europe in the June 2016 referendum. The ideology of the British right-wing political groups is pretty much the same: British nationalism, Euroscepticism, anti-immigration, and anti-Islam. The tactics to get their ideal state are also the same. They're contesting various elections in order to be able to influence the political picture of the country, and with an occasional march or a rally that they are trying to get their messages heard without much violence. However, there are more extreme right-wing groups present and functioning in Britain that seem to have no interest in contesting the elections but are guided by extreme violence and hatred. In the UK, the extreme right is fractured, leaderless, confused, and dispirited. It is also highly unpredictable and on occasions violent. Rather than one party or group such as British National Party or the English Defence League dominating the stage, a couple of dozen smaller groups contend for attention. The groups favor so-called direct action such as picketing mosques, invading halal slaughterhouses, and harassing staff at Muslim-owned restaurants. On the other hand, Islam and Muslims are no longer welcome in Europe. The decision by the European Court of Justice to allow employees to ban staff from wearing the headscarf seems certain to only further marginalize and push Muslim women out of public life. Economic marginalization is, of course, not the only obstacle that women must face due to the decisions like the one made. There are much more dire consequences for the average woman on the streets of London or Paris. It is evident from the reports of a woman in hijab being dragged along the streets of London and another woman attacked and bitten by wearing hijab in Vienna. Islamophobia in the UK can easily be observed online. One clear evidence of analysis by Damus on tweets recorded between March and July 2016 and judged there to be 215,247 tweets sent in English that were highly likely to be anti-Islamic, derogatory or hateful. The vast majority of tweets that could be located to Europe came from the United Kingdom, with other concentration in the Netherlands, France, and Germany. The highest number of Islamophobic tweets to be sent in one day is 21,190, came on July 15, 2016, the day after a man plunged a lorry into the crowds on the seafront in Nice, killing 85 people. A report by a think tank stated that recent hate violence has reached historic levels, mirroring the days post 9/11. Unfortunately, these hate crimes trickle down to children as well, with increased bullying and isolation for children. Some of the organizations in the UK fueling Islamophobia are British National Party. This was founded in 1982. From its manifesto and policies, BNP is a British nationalist, anti-immigration, anti-Islam, Eurosceptic party. It used to run anti-Muslim slogans like "No more masks," "Ban the burqa," Article 15 now, "Stop all immigration," besides organization rallies and marches. One of its first successful political campaigns shortly after 9/11, entitled "Islam Out of Britain," the BNP declared its clearest objectives, where it sought to expose the threat Islam and Muslim pose to Britain and the British society in a widely distributed leaflet titled "The Truth About Islam." It used highly inflammatory reasons for justifying hating Muslims, suggesting that to find out what Islam really stands for, all you have to do is to look at a copy of the Quran and see for yourself. Islam really does stand for intolerance, slaughter, looting, arson, and molestation of women. Britain first. It was founded in 2011 by Jim Dawson. Its current chairman is Paul Golding, who was banned from entering mosques in England and Wales for the period of 3 years as being a hate monger. Britain's first policy included the introduction of a complete ban on Islam, prohibiting the media from using the word racism and praying Muslims of foreign descent to leave the country permanently. The tactics it uses to harass Muslims include Christians patrol outside London mosques, invasion of mosques in Bradford, Glasgow, Luton and East London, and staging protest rallies masked in Muslims its declared target of hate. Since being banned from entering mosques, its members have invaded a number of restaurants that use halal meat and posted films of incidents on the party's website. English Defence League. This is a far-right protest group established in 2009 and is a part of the counter-jihad movement. It aims at promoting anti-Islam and anti-Sharia law ideology in the UK and openly declared its goal to stop spreading of Islam into the UK. Although it claims only to oppose Islamic extremism, it targets the entire Muslim community, and its actions deliberately seek to whip up tensions and violence between Muslims and non-Muslim communities. Hawkish Henry Jackson Society. It was founded in 2005 at Peterhouse College, Cambridge, and moving to London a few years later. It is perhaps best known for the views of Douglas Murray, its associate director, who has made a string of anti-Muslim comments over the years, including famously that conditions for Muslims would need to be made harder across the board in coming years. Society is a good example of how new conservative, Zionist and even liberal left pro-war and secularist views can come together to bolster anti-Muslim racism. UK Independent Party. UK Independent Party was formed in 1993 by members of Anti-Federalist League. In 2007, UK IP's Gerard Batten accepted the petition from Anders Gravers protesting a ban on the Brussels demonstration by Stop Islamization of Europe. UKIP wants to pass a law against the wearing of face veils, ignoring that only a tiny majority of British Muslim women wear veils. UKIP members also wants to explicitly ban what they call Sharia, which they have failed to define, unfortunately. Nevertheless, the party claims Sharia undermines women's rights in the UK. Liberty Great Britain. It is a far-right political party registered in 2013 by Paul Wesson, an ex-UKIP member, and George Vale. They promote themselves as a patriotic counter-jihad party that stands for Christian values, Western rights and freedoms. Northwest Infidels. It is a social organization that claims to be standing up for the rights of indigenous British people, making a stand against radical Islam, Zionism, communism, Irish republicanism, pedophiles and the left. Its banner says, "Refugees not welcome in the UK." It gathered huge mass in the streets of Liverpool, London, Glasgow and other major cities in the UK against Muslims and Islam. Some of its protesters were arrested as they were attempted to be violent in their protest against Muslims. Dear viewers, not even the voices that may speak in favor of Muslims are being silenced in the UK. Like Jo Cox, a Labour MP was shot and stabbed to death on a street in her Yorkshire constituency on June 16, 2016. Cox has been a prominent voice in the parliament calling for the government to welcome Syrian refugees into Britain and had worked with a Muslim hate-crime minority group. Cox has been a prominent voice in parliament calling for the government to welcome Syrian refugees into the Britain and had worked with a Muslim hate-crime monitoring group, Tell Mama, to combat Islamophobia in the country. Her assailant, Thomas Mayer, had long-standing association with neo-Nazi and white supremacist groups.